Welcome.
Welcome.
Well, hi.
And of course, being the little cat who sounds like a Southern gentleman.
Well, hi.
He's next to the refrigerator. You go around the corner, and there he is.
And he says, well, hi.
Welcome to Stay F Homekins. My name is Paul F. Tompkins.
My name is Janie Haddad Tompkins.
I am a comedian.
I am an actress.
We are a married couple living in Los Angeles, and this is our after-dinner podcast.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
This is our April edition.
That's right. Can you believe that it's already April?
Guys, we record this podcast every month.
Mm-hmm.
It tends to come out on the second Friday of every month.
Mm-hmm.
But we do a lot of bonus content every week.
Ooh, right off the bat.
I'm just saying we completed I think you were very pleased that we completed.
I wasn't displeased. We finished watching season 10 of Southern Charm.
Yes,
Bravo.
and we recorded our
reactions.
our reactions, and Paul was very pleased that it was over. Anyway,
well,
I just thought
is that I don't so much mind watching the shows themselves, although I don't want to take on more reality TV shows. You know what I mean?
Yes, we've talked about.
But the reunion shows, there's something that's very gross to me about them. It's very off-putting, and I don't know. It just feels like.
Well, you're not a Andy Cohen fan.
No, I'm not an Andy Cohen fan. I'm also not a fan of rehashing everything. Like, we would just watch the whole season.
Right.
This especially made me realize there's not much to say.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
They said all the same things.
Yeah, they sure did.
And also when it's like, so what do you think? Can you guys be friends now? I don't care.
Also, it doesn't seem like Andy Cohen wants that. But anyway, I digress. I was just saying that we completed
he just
that.
Wants scoops.
He wants like Jerry Springer action.
He does. Good old Jerry Springer. Did he die?
I don't know, but
I feel like he did, right?
he did.
A couple of years ago or something?
He did. He had like a crazy life or something because he was like the mayor of Cincinnati.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was working in London,
Whoa. Excuse me.
Years ago on Kelsey Grammer Resents the Sketch Show.
Guys, for those who don't know, Paul was on one season of a television show called
The Season
of
a television show.
One seasons, as you guys would joke on your other show that was on for one season. You say one seasons. Don't you guys say one seasons?
Who?
On DAG?
One seasons?
Isn't that your thing? You're like, we did one seasons of DAG. I've heard you say that.
What? That's new to me, but I think it's really funny.
Okay, well, anyway, for those who don't know, Paul was on the season of a show called Kelsey Grammer Presents the Sketch Show, which they all called Kelsey Grammer Resents the Sketch Show Behind His Back.
To be fair,
because he did,
I
right?
might have been the only one that called it that.
Oh, wait, no one else called it that?
I don't remember if anyone else ever did.
But he did resent it. He was not.
He didn't care, I would say. I wouldn't say he resented it.
So it's more like Kelsey Grammer is
ambivalent
about the sketch show.
But when we were there, I think it was for the pilot. We were given tickets to see Jerry Springer the Opera, which was a show.
Oh, I did. They did make a musical. I remember there was a Jerry Springer musical.
Yeah, and I think it started in the West End. I think that's where it started.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Was it good?
It was fine.
Huh.
Do you know what I mean? I think it was more for a non-American audience because it was sort of like, look at these fucking people. You know what I mean?
Right.
I do remember there's the guy who played Jerry Springer didn't have to sing. He just kind of hosted it, right?
Okay.
And then they had all these other people who were very good singers.
The perfect job to be a star of a musical and then not have to sing.
The thing that stands out to me when I think about it is that when they would dramatize the fights people would get into on the show, like yelling at each other.
Yes.
There was a woman who sang "Talk to the Hand," which was, a new fun expression at the time. But then she would also say, talk to the ass. And it's like, I don't think anyone ever said that.
Wait. What?
Because talk to the hand is you put the hand
Oh,
up.
I know what talk to the
and
hand
that's
is.
Well, I'm not explaining it to you.
For people who can't see through the podcast, Paul is
I feel bad for those people who can't see.
He is holding his hand up.
You hold your hand up in a stop
in
motion.
the classic talk to the hand gesture. By the way, I think I'm going to ironically bring back talk to the hand.
Do it. I support you.
Yeah.
So this lady would do that. Talk to the hand.
Talk to the hand.
Talk to the hand. And then she would turn around and like point at her ass and say, talk to the ass. But I don't think I've ever seen anyone do that or say that ever.
Right.
And I don't know if they thought that they were, I don't know if the people that wrote this thought that was a thing or if they invented it thinking this will be funny to put this on top of talk to the hand. But it struck me as being, it was dumb. But it also might have been a thing like, you know what, this is what Americans are like.
They're so
Which
dumb.
is fair.
They're so dumb. They say talk to the hand, and they, of course, would probably say talk to the ass.
Yeah. Maybe they thought they were getting ahead of it. Like by the time this comes out, people will be saying talk to the ass.
I don't like it.
No, it's not good.
No.
It's not to be liked.
No, I don't like it. No. It's not good. Well, anyway, guys, since we've last been with you, I think the last time we spoke, I was not well. I still have a little residual cough, which is very odd, but I'm saying it because it might occur.
It's a month
on the podcast. Yeah. And I had to travel to my aunt. My aunt passed away. And I went to the funeral in West Virginia. I stayed with my dad, who lives there, and my stepmom. And I saw a lot of my cousins and my relatives. And I also got to see our wonderful merch partners at Kinship Goods.
Yeah, you saw Dan and Hillary.
Dan and Hillary. And I got to see their new shop, which was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
But yeah,
I could have seen it.
I hadn't been to visit my West Virginia family, and it had been 4 years since I had been there. And that surprised me a little bit. Or may have been like 3.5 years, but still, I was like, oh, because it's not so easy to get there.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
There's no direct flight.
Yes. But in spite of it being like a sad occasion, my aunt, you guys, she was 92 when she passed away. So it was more of a celebration of life.
Yeah. And she, it was her request, right? That everybody wear bright colors?
Or it was my cousin maybe, but yeah, that we wear bright, cheerful colors.
Yeah, I think that's sweet.
But it was like, very Catholic, very like, I hadn't been to a Catholic mass in a long time.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time
I mean, I like, cause I went to Catholic school, and so I used to go like all the time because when you're in Catholic school, you don't just go on Sundays. You go like during the freaking week.
There's holy days of obligation.
But every Friday we would go.
We would
go.
Well,
not until after high school we didn't. But
we would go First Friday. There was a thing called First Friday Mass.
I feel like we went every Friday.
Wow. That's too
morning.
Much.
Yeah, it was like too much.
That's too much. We would go in grade school. We would go First Friday. And then the thing that was fun about First Friday.
In grade school, yes. It was on Fridays.
Is that afterwards we'd go to like McDonald's or something. That was our little treat.
What? We didn't get that. We would have like mass in the morning and then we would go to classes.
We had First Friday for us was a half day.
Wow.
Yeah.
We didn't get that.
So I think we'd have like one class in the morning. We'd all go to church. And then afterwards we'd get to have a little treat.
But like this was like, okay, so this Catholic mass, first there was like a visitation and that was like 2 hours long. Then there was like full Catholic mass funeral.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Visitation is such a funny term.
Which is basically like receiving. The family receives, right?
Because it sounds like aliens came.
Yeah. And then the full Catholic mass is like, and it's Catholic mass funeral is like an hour long. Mm-hmm. And so, and like this Catholic mass is not like when I went to Catholic school and I used to go to mass, like I feel like there was like guitar playing and you know what I'm talking about?
I do. I've never liked guitar mass.
Well, this was not that. This was like, you know, full on.
Yeah.
Like the church situation.
Organ, incense.
Yes.
That, if you're going to do it, do it.
Really?
You know what I mean? Yes.
See, I like the hippy dippy. Like that's just what I was raised with.
It's too try hard to me. It feels like, I want to say like, you're not fooling anybody. This shit is ancient. Why are you trying to throw in an acoustic guitar?
I don't know. I like the hippie.
It's supposed to be scary. It's supposed to be scary. I'm supposed to be scared of God.
Sorry, it made me cough. Sorry, I apologize for my interruptions. Anyway, I was just sort of like struck by like how familiar and foreign it all was because it was familiar and I hadn't been to like a mass in a long time.
Yeah.
And then I guess like I can't remember if like one of my cousins or someone was like, "Are you going to take communion?" And I was like, "No, because it's like stolen valor at this point."
Stolen valor.
I mean, like at this point, you know,
it's sacrilegious. Sacrilegious.
I don't think it's that as much as it's just like I don't.
Well, no, it is sacrilegious.
Not if you don't believe it's sacrilegious.
That's not what that doesn't matter. It's sacrilegious. The thing that matters is to the people that do believe.
Meaning like I couldn't take it because I haven't been to a confession or something?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I just didn't want to do it anyway.
Yeah, why would you? It's disgusting. You know you're not missing anything. That's one thing they have not updated, I'm sure.
I just was sort of like, this is so patriarchal in a way. Like it struck me in a way as like, why do young girls have to be subjected to this? You know what I mean? like I thought about my childhood and I thought about being subjected to this in a way of like, how is this like including me in this trajectory of, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I do. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I just was thinking about that, even though I was really thinking about my aunt and my life with my aunt and everything like that. But on the other hand, it did spark memories of my upbringing in the Catholic church.
Of course.
And I was like, this is so wild. Anyway, I remembered like a lot. There were like hymns that I like remembered.
Which ones do you remember?
Oh gosh, I knew you were going to ask me. It might be written on the program over there. Should I just go grab it?
Eagle's Wings wasn't in there.
Wait, and he will raise you up on eagle's wings.
You on the breath of dawn. Make you shine like the sun and hold you in the palm of his hand. Yeah, I never liked that one. I didn't like any of the modern ones.
Oh, see, did you just have like a different like Catholic upbringing than me? Because I think I was like.
No, it sounds like we had the same, except you liked some of it and I didn't. We know all the same songs. Do you remember the "Make Me a Channel of Your Peace" song?
Wait, don't tell me. Don't tell me. Make me a channel of your peace. Sort of?
It's pretty close. Make me a channel of your peace. Where there is darkness, let me bring light.
Yes.
What I really loved about that one was the way it ended, because it's a prayer that is set to music, and so at the end, it's just like they try to cram all these words in. Oh, Master, grant that I may never seek so much to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love with all my soul. Make me a channel of your peace. So the ending is like, and in dying that we're born to eternal life.
I think I remember that. And
Yeah.
we're born to. Okay.
It's like they gave up.
Do you remember?
Your President Nixon.
What?
Do you remember your President Nixon?
What is that?
Do you remember the bills you had to pay, or even yesterday?
Wait. Is this the song? Wait. And I will raise you up. No, that's not it.
What's the name
I
of it?
am the bread.
I am the bread of life. He who comes to me shall not hunger. He who believes in me shall not thirst. No one can come to me unless the Master call him, and I will raise him up. That is a good one, actually.
And I will raise
it's really dramatic.
You up.
And I will raise you up on the last day. Oh, this is great. Sing the old hymns. People must be loving this.
Do you remember, Holy God, we praise thy name?
Oh.
Holy God, we praise thy name. Lord of all, we bow before thee. All on earth thy scepter claim. All in heaven above adore thee.
Shit. I can't remember the tune, but I do remember that one.
Okay, well, anyway, this was all at the service. And then after the service, which was a really nice service.
Mm-hmm.
And my cousin's children did some readings.
Mm-hmm.
And
nice.
yes. And then we went to the cemetery for that part. Mm-hmm. That was like the most emotional part, because it's like super real then, you know?
Yeah.
And it was really sad.
Yeah.
But then we had the mercy meal afterwards.
The mercy meal?
Yeah, there was like a mercy meal at the church.
Never heard that term before.
Everyone keeps saying that, but I don't know. That's just what it was.
But had you heard that before?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like, I heard it. No, I didn't think that was weird.
But anyone you've mentioned this to says, what is that?
Well, like non-Catholic. Well, that's not true.
Of course not Catholics.
Well, that's not true, because Samantha's Catholic, and she said she had not heard it.
Yeah. I wonder if that's a new thing. And if you have remained going, you'd be aware.
I don't know, but all I know, it was like kind of an intense, long ritual, like from morning to late afternoon.
Yeah.
And then, but then we all went home and got in soft clothes, and then went back to my other aunt's house, and all the cousins were together, and that's when we really kind of like could be more relaxed.
Like the wake. Yeah.
Is that what that's called?
Yeah. The wake is kind of the party part, I guess.
The wake is it really?
Yeah, I mean,
I always thought the wake had to do with like I thought that was the visitation for some reason.
I guess I thought of that as the reception. It's a good question. I guess I might be wrong about the terms. Well,
anyway, yeah, then I got to see everyone. My brother couldn't make it, and because my brother's like he teaches physical therapy, and it's a PhD program, and it's a program for people who like are getting their PhD, but they also have regular jobs to pay their lives and bills and stuff. So a lot of the study and classes are on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, there's no one to substitute when you're like that level of a teacher.
Yeah.
And so he couldn't make it because he was teaching that Saturday.
Yeah.
And that was sad. But anyway, that's just, I don't know. I just had to, I had to share that.
What kind of funeral do you want?
I don't really have a dog in that fight.
Like, you don't care what happens after you're gone. You're just like,
Well, I definitely,
I won't be there, so what do I care?
I think it's hard to think of people being sad for you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's not so much thinking. When I think of it, I don't think of so much of people being sad. I guess I do think of it more as a celebration of life kind of thing. You know what I mean? Because I picture my friends all kind of gathered, you know, and that it's not. I don't see it as like a super sad occasion. I don't know.
But it will.
Like, people would be sad, but I mean, I hope.
Well, also it like depends on how you die.
Yeah.
And like when you die.
But the thing that's really wonderful about funerals is that when you are talking about the person for such a long time, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think that is such that's really an honoring of someone, you know, like when a bunch of people are getting together and they're just telling stories about this person, and, you know, people are like laughing and stuff and, you know, having fond memories of.
I mean, definitely my Aunt Phyllis, like she impacted a lot of people's lives.
Absolutely.
I mean, like she had such a big personality and everyone had like all of these amazing things to say about her and remember her. And I mean, she impacted my life. Like she was very supportive of my journey as an artist and stuff. Yeah. And that was meaningful to me, you know?
Absolutely.
So I don't know, like it's hard to think about your own thing because
I'm more morbid than you are, though.
I don't think that's true.
Really?
Every time I ever say like when I'm going to die and you freak out, you don't ever like, I can't even believe you asked me about my funeral just now. Like you never let me say anything about dying.
Because you say these things out of nowhere.
Why is that different? Who cares?
Well, it's like, okay. So here's a little background. We're trying to figure out some money stuff the other day, bills and things like that. And there's like a million passwords you need for this, that, and the other thing. And Janie said, I feel bad because if I died, you would have no access to any of this.
I said, when I die, you're going to be fucked, aren't you? Because I handle all of our admin.
Right. And
like all of our finances and stuff.
If you died, that would be way down on the list of things that I was worried about.
I know, but it's not. But having dealt with like when my stepdad died and helping my mom with all of that stuff.
Yeah.
It is burdensome to leave somebody
for sure.
without like, especially in this digital age.
Yeah. That's my mom. When she died, she had her shit all sorted out.
Well, she also kind of knew when she was dying.
That's true. But I think she'd had it that way for a while. You know what I mean?
Yes.
She was very good about that stuff. I wish that I had learned that from her.
Yeah, like
but I did not.
You like I do.
I went to the economic school of hard knocks.
My friends were saying, I have this one friend who said we need to put this in a document for our spouses, because we were saying like, oh, I do all of this for the household and da. And I was like, yeah, I should do that. And I thought to myself, like, I was overwhelmed by that because there are like a million things. Yeah. Like, it's not just like one thing.
No, I know.
It's like a million things.
I know.
It's like this utility or that, or like even just like the health insurance and da.
I know. But look, the good thing is my name is still all that shit. And it's like.
Not every single thing.
What? Well, listen, for me, this is what I want.
Oh, yeah. Is this what we're getting around to? Is the kind of funeral you want?
Yes, I was graciously allowing you to go first, but you have no
Because
interest.
because I don't know. Like, I think it is kind of a bummer that you don't get to hear how you've impacted people's lives. Like, if people are going to be talking about that, people should be talking about that while you're still around.
Well, that I agree, and I think you have to tell people what they mean to you while they're around. You know,
but I also
you have to overcome your fear of being corny or cringe or whatever.
I think there is a real phenomenon of not knowing what someone means to you until they're gone.
What do you? When you say real phenomenon, you're saying that's a thing that happens, not like
it's like a normal
it's a
human
craze lately.
No, I'm saying like. Yeah, you can tell the person what they mean to you until you're blue in the face and have like cringe and vulnerability or whatever. Mm-hmm. But until they're truly gone, that doesn't crystallize for you.
Oh, well, until absolutely. That is.
So there's like no way of ever telling someone what they truly mean to you when they're alive, I think.
I think that you can express that, but that's more about the person who is feeling the thing. Is that there's a certain point where it goes beyond words. That when you feel the loss of that person, the hole that they leave in your life, there's no way of expressing that. That's just something that you feel so deeply. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't put words to that. That's incalculable.
And you can't feel it until it happens.
No.
That's the problem.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
All right, so tell me what the funeral you want.
I don't want people wearing bright colors.
Wait, you do or you don't?
I don't. I want everybody in black.
Okay.
Everybody.
Okay.
Everybody.
Even what if like Gritty comes?
I think Gritty has a black jersey, and I think that he would wear it. By the way, I would love if Gritty came to my funeral.
If I could get Gritty for your funeral, I'm assuming you're predeceasing me in this scenario because I'm the one handling the details.
Yeah. All right. I mean, we're just going with the averages, right?
You should never assume.
It's true. But just in case, I will say this. I don't want a fake homemade Gritty. If you can't get the real guy, then don't bother.
All right. Wait, so you want everyone in black?
Yes, but I do want...
Do you want people... Do you want me to have organ music where they play You Can't Always Get What You Want?
No, I don't want that.
That's good.
That's a different generation, honey.
Guys, The Big Chill is a really good movie. It totally holds up. I love it.
But I'm not quite that old.
I don't think that it has to encapsulate that generation.
It doesn't mean anything to me.
The Big Chill means nothing to you?
No, it doesn't. I didn't see it when it came out. I did play that soundtrack a million billion times. What was I in high school? I might have been in high school.
I'm about to spoil Yellowstone.
Please.
So if you're waiting for some reason to watch it, skip ahead. But this is something that I thought when I watched Final Yellowstone. Kevin Costner, one of his early acting jobs, famously, was the corpse in The Big Chill.
He had scenes, but they were cut out.
That's right. He had scenes, but they were cut out. So he ended up just being the corpse.
Yes.
In The Big Chill, which is the opening of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Then in Yellowstone, his character, John Dutton, I don't know. I think there was like drama in real life where Kevin Costner couldn't return for the final episodes or something.
Or wouldn't
return for the final episodes of Yellowstone. And so in the final episodes of Yellowstone, his character is like immediately murdered.
So was he in this last season? Was he in some of it?
I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
I'm about to tell you. So this depends on how you frame this, because the last season of Yellowstone was like there were some episodes shown and then we all had to wait for the second half.
Yeah.
So
that bullshit.
So
yeah.
I'm sort of like referring to the back end of the final season as the final season.
Yeah.
Because those were the ones that we were all waiting for them to end the series. So they immediately murder him.
So you did not.
I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
They immediately murder his character in the first new episode of the final.
That's not what Okay.
Okay. Then they never show his face. It's like a body double of him as a dead body in the episode. So he famously played a corpse in Big Chill and famously did not play his own corpse in Yellowstone, is what I'm trying to say.
So he was in the final season except for the last few episodes.
That's not sort of how I would frame it, because to me, those last episodes were the final season.
How many were in that final?
Like 8 or something.
Okay, and how many total episodes were there in the season?
I don't remember because it was so long ago that those first episodes were dropped.
I think that you are splitting hairs.
No, I think that I am telling you that I think it's Here's what I'm telling you, and I believe.
Okay.
I think it's bullshit when TV creators are like, we're going to drop half of season 5, half of season 6 on this date, and then half a year or whatever later, we're going to drop the other half.
But do you think that's the creators, or do you think that's the network?
Well, in this instance, I don't know if this was even like part of the problem with Kevin Costner. If it was like they couldn't get him to wrap up the story or something.
Right. I feel like if he wanted to do it, it would have happened.
I have a feeling that Taylor Sheridan, the only way to end that series is to kill off, to have him die. What?
Everybody.
Well, yes, but like that character like the whole premise of that series is kind of like a Succession thing.
Yeah.
Like what's going to happen to the ranch or whatever. Yeah. And so like it's kind of like, well, you have to kind of end it with that character dying.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is true or not. This is just the way it felt to me, is that he was not planning to have him die until the very end.
Right.
Because then they stretched out.
I mean, that's ideally what you would want to do.
Yes, the aftermath of his murder.
Yeah.
Which maybe he wasn't even planning to have him die that way or not. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like the aftermath of that is like then like 8 episodes. And it was like crazy off the rails. Like it was the craziest off the rails ending.
Right.
But then I saw people online really like the final episode.
Takes all kinds.
Anyway, when I was watching it, all I could think was some guy is playing Kevin Costner as a dead guy. That's not Kevin Costner, and that Kevin Costner played a dead guy in The Big Chill.
Maybe that
was like maybe it's like the kiss of like a kiss of luck
maybe
or something.
That'll be our next Kevin Costner.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like maybe he has sort of
agreeing with you.
Sorry,
I wish you had not taken a drink at that moment because it sounded like there was real tension.
I was drinking. I was drinking when he... Well, I hope I didn't bring anyone down because I was talking about having attended a funeral, but that's what I've been up to, you know?
Yeah.
Like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
What do you think?
About what you're supposed to do? Here's what I think. We're supposed to take a break.
All right, guys. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back after these brief non-messages. And we're back.
White Lotus.
Oh, you're going to talk about White Lotus?
Are you?
Are you going to do it in a way where we need to tell everyone if they haven't caught up?
Well, when is this being released?
Like,
is it going to come out Friday?
Oh,
Hi, Cuckoo.
Hi, Cuckoo. Oh, I guess we should let people know that we are recording a few days early.
Yes, because we're both going out of town at different times, and it's just too difficult.
Cuckoo, you're here. Well, if you haven't watched White Lotus, then skip ahead.
Yeah, but by now you probably have. I mean...
Or heard about it.
Yeah. So guess what? Somebody else has probably spoiled it for you already.
Well, I think it's always polite to let people know whether or not.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Oh, wait. That reminds me of a story about spoilers that I will come back to in a minute.
Great.
After you get your White Lotus conversation.
Get my White
out.
Lotus on?
Get your White Lotus on.
I am going to say this, and this is a bold proclamation, but I don't think this show should have been more than one season.
Whoa. I don't.
Because it feels like a lot of treading water.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
I mean?
Like it's like another murder in a resort.
So now it's like each season, okay, we have to go to a fabulous place and we have to invent a bunch of unhappy, miserable people. And then we have to have a murder in there somewhere that has to pay off at the end of the series.
I mean, that is sort of the premise of the thing.
Yeah. So it's got a very specific template.
I think I get into it because I like the locations.
Oh, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous to look at.
Like it is like a travel show in a way,
yes,
in a weird way.
Exactly.
And I like the actors and the costumes, but it is sort of like it is another like, oh, it's just another murder in a thing.
Yeah.
Like a thing.
It's a murder that you see has happened in the first episode.
And then you had to go back and
you find out who was murdered at the end.
Yeah.
And in between, it's a bunch of the shittiest people imaginable.
And the people who are like really rich and really like
their money. It didn't buy them happiness.
The money doesn't buy happiness. Maybe that's the lesson we all need in Trump 2.0, since we're all gonna lose our money.
But also, it's funny. It's interesting to note
the inflations.
How much Jennifer Coolidge had to do with the success of that show.
Jennifer Coolidge is so funny in the first 2 seasons of White Lotus. Like, she was so brilliant. Like, I don't know. It's just like, I think about her performance a lot. Like when her mom died and she's spreading the ashes and like, she's just so funny, but also sad. She's like a sad, lonely, rich lady. You kind of like bought that she was just this crazy rich lady that was lonely.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess Parker Posey was supposed to fill that role this season.
Yeah, I mean, she was fun in some ways. She was kind of a mean girl person.
Yeah.
A mean girl mom.
But there was nobody who was as much fun as Jennifer.
This season was less fun. I didn't like the way they ended one of the characters' arcs. There was one character's arc who it really bummed me out.
Yeah.
That he did not stay true to his self.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just say who it was. The character Gaitak.
Yeah. Very suddenly.
Yeah. He was like, he had sort of a moral center, and then he just decided that he couldn't, like, his moral center couldn't, like, sustain itself in the world of the White Lotus. And maybe that was the idea.
I guess.
But he almost, like, left the White Lotus.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they're like, no, stay. And then he got sucked into the vortex of the evil of the White Lotus. Mm-hmm. I mean, right?
Yeah. It was kind of a bummer ending for everybody. And I don't know. The whole thing with prestige TV is, it feels like because there's so much content now, there's so much streaming, that the idea of prestige TV has fully jumped the shark, where it feels like there's a formula to it that is now ahead of the creativity. You know what I mean?
I don't know if I would go that far, but I can see why you would say that, because we are like huge consumers of TV, and we're sort of like, you know, trying to work in this industry and be in this industry. And so we're kind of like consuming a lot of this stuff through a particular lens, and probably a pretty critical lens.
Yeah.
Okay. I will get to this. This is a perfect segue then. This is a perfect segue, because I'm very, very much into the series The Pit.
Yes.
And when this comes out, it will have wrapped up, because like next week is the finale, because we're recording this early because of our travel. I hope this isn't, I hope I don't set this to come out and like an asteroid hits the Earth and half the Earth survives, and they listen to our podcast and they're like, why are they not talking about the asteroid that hit the Earth? That's like really my biggest fear when we record like a few days in advance, because we are like kind of topical with ourselves. The asteroid. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
They're like, why the fuck are they not talking about the asteroid?
Well, when I was doing, you remember when I was doing Spontaneation, and we would record 2 of those a week every week, and got so far ahead. We were months and months ahead.
Really?
At one point, yeah.
I didn't realize that.
And then it became weird talking about, like, when people were doing their plugs and stuff like that.
They're like, I'm going to be this Friday at the Chuckle House. And then it's like, the Chuckle House burned down.
The Chuckle House.
Or whatever.
Yeah. It'd be like, well, it's, we'd be recording in February and say, well,
like, my new Quibi show.
In July, I'm going to be
Quibi
here.
show.
Right.
And they're like, Quibi?
But to me, it was like, I might not be alive.
Oh my God.
There's months. There's months of episodes.
And Janie won't know how to do my funeral.
And I won't. Exactly.
Which I will. Everyone will be in black, and there'll be music.
I won't have music. Obviously, people get up and say whatever they want.
Do I have to do a eulogy? Because I think
you don't have to. No.
I think I'll be in a bad place.
No, you don't do a eulogy.
If you predecease me, I might predecease you.
Well, if you predecease me, you definitely don't have to do a eulogy.
If I because I'll be predeceased?
Exactly.
Great.
But no, you don't have to do a eulogy at my funeral. Let other people, they have to pay the respects to you.
I don't, this is, okay. All right. Here. So this happened to me this week, and I'm going to share. You know a little bit already. You know all of it. Okay, fine. So I love The Pit. I've been getting everyone I know to watch it pretty successfully.
You've been very evangelical about The Pit.
Yes, pretty successfully.
You know what? Yeah, your hit rate is impressive.
Oh my God, yes. It's true. So we were getting these estimates for a closet that we were going to get done, put together.
That's right.
And I'm like, we got to get 3 bids on everything.
Yes, I do.
We got to get 3 bids. So, we got the Container Store to give a bid, then another place and another place, and then
everybody wanted to do this closet.
Which, by the way, might be on hold just because of the recession that's coming. Right. This is like,
let's say depression. The depression is coming.
Well, yeah, the recession usually happens first before depression, I think.
Exactly.
Okay. So anyway, should I just say the company?
Yeah.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I was like in a full-on dispute with Closet World. So I had like traveled for my aunt's funeral, and like I was like really tired, and I had this appointment set up with the Closet World lady. She comes, first of all, she's like 4 minutes late, and she's like, I'm so sorry I'm late. And I'm like, oh, okay, it's fine. And
4 minutes late in Los Angeles is nothing.
And she said, at Closet World, we really pride ourselves on being punctual. And I was like, oh, okay, well, it's fine. Like I had just come from a place, and I
fucking Lumen.
I know that's like a Severance thing, and I haven't watched Severance. Okay, so basically I was like, I had just come from a place, and then it was like, once I was done with her, I was going to eat lunch and then do some work and da-da-da-da. So I was like, oh, I wasn't, whatever. So she comes in, we start talking about the project, and then she's like measuring and like, making suggestions and all this stuff. And like, for me, this is like a fact-finding mission. This is not like, I'm not committing to this person.
We're not sitting down to the table.
Yeah, like I don't
to
even
terms.
know if I can afford this project.
Yes.
To be honest.
Yes.
Because for various reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So the first hour goes by. And then she's still talking and she's still showing me things, you know, casually. It was a Thursday, which is a night that the pit comes out. And I think she was like, oh, what are you doing this evening? And I was like, well, you know, I was like, the pit comes out.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, yes, I love the pit. I watch, you know, da 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 da. And so we had like a brief and casual conversation about it. Fine. The second hour starts going by.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm like, oh my God, like, how are we 2 hours into this brief conversation?
Fun times at the pit are in the distant past now.
Yes. And she's like telling me like, you could do this and that. And she's like, then she starts taking out all these papers and doing a calculator and like measuring with a ruler and all this stuff. And what I thought was going to happen was she was going to come in, she was going to measure, and she was like, here's what the project could cost you. And, you know, going to email me like a thing to look over. Mm-hmm. But instead, like, she's like preparing it all while we're sitting there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And and then I was like, okay, so now I'm like, I got to get out of this.
Yeah.
Because it's like draining my life force. Mm-hmm. And I am like, you know, I was like, you know, how much longer? Because I have something at this time. And she's like, oh, okay. And she's like, so, and this is like now been like 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. She says to me, if you buy this today, if you buy this now, it'll essentially be like $5.
Yes,
if you
will lock in this discount, yes, but you have
if
to
you
do it
wait
today.
10 minutes after I leave, it's going to be $10,000. Like, that's what, like, essentially she was saying to me. She was like, while I'm here,
if you push this button,
it's
you
like,
get a nice closet.
It's like not.
But somewhere someone will die.
Yes, and then I was like, well, I need to. I was like, it doesn't matter because I need to discuss this with Paul, my husband, yes, and he's not here. Yes. And she was like, well, when is he getting home? When's he coming home? And I'm like, I don't know.
Which sounds like, because I'll wait here.
Yes.
Which is not on the table.
No.
You're not going to fucking hang around
like,
my house.
At this point, I'm like tired.
Weird closet lady.
I've had a time. Like, I've had a month. Like, I was sick. I went to like a funeral. Like, I'm tired, you know. And this was just in the books, and I was keeping it in the books because I'm trying to get back on track. And I was like, well, I don't know, but we will discuss it, and then I'll let you know.
Yeah.
And she said, well, why don't you just call him? Just call him. And I'm like, well, I can't call him because he's somewhere recording something. So I'm not going to interrupt. I can't interrupt that, you know? And she's just like.
I wish you'd said I was a surgeon or something.
I think she could look around.
Oh, you like the pit?
Our house.
He's a heart surgeon.
I think she could look around our house and know.
And he does it for free.
That we're not a home of surgeons.
He does it for free. He does it for barter. People bring us stuff in exchange for him saving their lives. Okay. See this nice bowl? My husband operated on a child.
Saved his life. All right, she was like, call him, and I was like, no, I can't. You know, we have to and so like at this point, like I'm like frazzled and hungry, and maybe a little dehydrated, and dysregulated by the intensity of this exchange now, like that has like gone so long that she she basically was like, all right, well, let me tell you what you can do. You can, if you put a deposit on this today, like right now, it will lock in this like so insanely low price. And she's like, and we did just get an email that our prices are going up. So if you lock this in, and she mentioned tariffs. I mean, and this was like before like Judgment Day or whatever the fuck Trump called it.
7 hours before everything fucking.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what he was calling it. Liberation Day or whatever. And I was like, And she's like, and there's no obligation and you can cancel. It's California. So you have a 3-day right to cancel legally. And I was like, and at this point, I'm literally just like, here's my credit card. Like, okay, fine. Here's my credit card. And I give her the thing. And I know that this is wrong. Like, I know everything that's happening is wrong.
Yes.
Like, I can feel it in my body.
Yeah.
And in my nervous system. And I'm in my home. And this is happening. Okay. And I wanted it to end so badly. And all I could think about was all of the true crime shows I had watched over the years where the cops elicit a false confession out of someone because they've had them there usually for like 16 to 25 hours. This was 2 hours and 25 minutes. Like I literally was like in 2.5 hours, like, here's my credit card. Can I make this stop? Like, can I just make this stop? You know? And so like it all worked out and I hustled her out of the house and at this point, like she'd given me her number, like we had
her personal number.
Yeah, like we had like like somehow we texted or she gave me her personal number. Yes, that's right. She gave me her personal number. She leaves me with all this paperwork and stuff and she leaves. And I like have to have like some cheese and crackers like immediately. Like I'm just like I need like I don't know what just happened to me. Yeah. Paul gets home like 20 minutes later. You come home. Sorry, 20 minutes later, and I'm like I don't know what just happened, but I put this deposit on this thing I do not want. I don't want this, and I feel like this is wrong. And it was like close of business on Friday at this point. Like it was already like, you know, so I ended up like, I had like nightmares that night. Like I couldn't sleep. I woke up the next morning and I was like, I have to get out of this transaction somehow. So I go through the paperwork on Saturday. I see there's like a piece of paper that says 3-day right to cancel. You sign it. Da, da, da. So I filled it out. I scanned it. I called.
Because even she said that, did she not?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I call the Closet World number. I say, I want to cancel this. They say you have to email this document, you know, whatever. So I email the document and I said, please respond. There's like a time on this, like that you received this. Yeah. Please confirm that you received this. And I hear nothing. So then I texted her later in the day and just said, I just want you to know I ended up canceling like the transaction because we just need more time. Yeah. But whatever. And then she was like, well, you could put a deposit on half the purchase and still lock it in. And I was like, no, I'm canceling it. And then she texts me her reaction to the pit.
To the most recent episode.
To the most recent episode of the pit. Yeah. Now, I did watch the pit in real time. So I was caught up. But how did she know that?
Exactly.
And like, that was, there's a line.
That was the most unforgivable part.
That was the most unforgivable part. So I blocked her number. And I will tell you, these Closet World people would not put in writing that they canceled my transaction. I called like 3 more times. I had to get like a manager. And I said, please just, can you just respond to my email so I have a record that you are not going to charge my card? They fucking charged my card.
That's right. Now, you had given our credit card company a heads up.
Not yet. This is after. After she said, I'm not going to put it in writing. And they charged my card.
Right.
I called my credit card company and I said, I'm in this with Closet World. I don't know what's going on. They're very suspicious. They won't. Oh, right. And it had not gone through until the next. You're right. It hadn't gone through yet.
You
it was
said
pending.
they're gonna try to charge.
They're going to try to charge it.
Yeah.
And I want you to block this transaction because I have put in writing and I even submitted documentation to the credit card company. And then finally, like a week later, the refund happened. Yeah. But it's like I had to open a dispute with the credit card.
Yeah. Thank God you did.
I'm never going to buy anything from Closet World because of the pit.
Closet World, you lost us, and then you lost us further.
But also, I was freaked out because I was like, wow, when you're like inviting people into your home.
Yes, which is
to
always
like
scary.
Measure and like do a thing.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, is she going to be like upset with me because she like it seemed like I was going to buy something and then I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And she knows where we live.
I have a story for you.
Okay, I'm ready.
This is many years ago.
Oh, I don't know if I know this one.
I don't know if I told you this story. The Thrilling Adventure Hour, when we went to Australia and New Zealand.
Okay.
We go to Australia. We have, I think we get there really early, so we're all trying to, stay awake.
That is a monster trip.
It is. And you don't want to fuck
especially from LA.
You do not want to fuck up your whole sleep cycle because it will be bad.
Yes.
So we're like, people are doing various things, walking around town. We're in Sydney. And I think Sydney was the first place. And I get a text from 2 of the gang that say, we were just in this store that you should go to. It's a men's clothing store.
Mm-hmm.
We think you would like it because they have kind of interesting stuff. The name of the store is Joe Bananas.
No way.
Now, they said the guy gave us, scotch, and we looked around.
And these are people
like
that you know are saying this.
Yes. Yeah. So I say, okay, I should check out Joe Bananas. It sounds...
Bananas.
It sounds right up my bananas alley. So I go there.
Oh, they gave you scotch. That's always the kiss of death when you go shopping retail and they're like, let me give you some wine or...
Exactly.
And then you're like, okay, you walk out with some bags.
And those places are always super expensive too.
Yes.
So I go there and Joe Bananas himself is there. I forget I can't remember what the guy's name is. Now, my friends had talked me up to this guy.
Oh, God.
They said...
This guy's going to spend so much fucking money.
Well, they didn't say that necessarily. They said, who would love this place is blah, blah, blah. And I guess he asked about me. So what happens is this dude thinks that I am some big shot entertainer in America. Right?
Oh, my God.
Like he thinks, well, I don't know him, but he must be famous in LA or in America because they're coming here doing the show, blah, blah, blah. He is giving me the hardest sell on shit that I've ever gotten in my life. And by the way, when I get in there, instantly I'm like, I don't like any of this stuff. And it's so expensive.
Sure.
It's so expensive. But he is working me over.
Mm-hmm.
He is trying to get me to buy like a blazer that's so, like a couple $1,000s or something. And I'm like, I can't afford that. And he thinks I'm trying to play hardball with him.
Oh,
so he's like trying to make these deals and everything. And it's still like, it's too much money.
Right.
And he is now, then he's starting to get, I can tell he is angry. He's angry because he thinks I'm holding out on him.
What?
And he's like, he wants to flip out on me.
Right.
Like his face, there's like fucking veins in his neck.
Oh my God.
And I think I bought like the cheapest things I could were a couple shirts that I don't think I ever wore.
You didn't even want them.
No.
You didn't want them.
No. But I felt so pressured by this dude. I've never seen anything like this in my life. Like the look on his face when I would say like, yeah, it's nothing. It's not, I'm honestly not trying to, bargain with you. I just can't, it's too expensive for me. I just can't afford it. And he did that thing where he like clenched his jaw and looked up at the ceiling.
Oh my God.
Like he was like, I want to punch this guy in the face, but I can't. Joe Bananas.
Is that really?
And then I got emails from him.
Oh, for the rest of your life. For the rest of your life.
For a really long time. It finally stopped. But it would be like, we're coming to Los Angeles.
He was like asking you to give money to the Biden campaign and the
oh, God.
texting you. He's like, Paul.
Those people were less aggressive than
Paul, I saw the other day Cory Booker spoke for 25 hours on the Senate floor.
He would text me and say, Paul, I'm choking back tears. Why wouldn't you buy a $2,000 blazer?
Paul. I was like, yeah, I don't know what it is about the psychology of that, but it is so scary to feel like, I mean, when you walked out and you'd bought something that you didn't want,
it
sucked.
Felt
terrible.
It feels
like
so
you've
bad.
been like coerced.
It felt it because it's like I let this guy
coercive control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I let this guy bully me.
Yes.
Not as much as he wanted to. Like he still wasn't satisfied.
And honestly, back to the closet or closet thing or whatever. But like honestly, as soon as she walked in, she told me about the email that they'd gotten that their prices were about to go up. Yeah. And so she already had planted the seeds.
Absolutely.
And I was like, oh, that's too bad. Because, and in my mind, I was like, well, all the prices are going up. Like in my mind, it was not suspicious at all because it's like inflation is happening.
Everything's fucked right now.
Yeah, everything's so fucked right now.
Every single price on everything is
yes, and I was like, well, of course they're going up because my timing on everything is going to be when shit's going to be going up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like, I can't deal with that kind of hard, aggressive shit. Like, it's so...
No, I mean, that's why we have a better business bureau. You know what I mean?
I know, but there's that kind of stuff with like organizations.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like, religions or cults and stuff.
Yes.
Like Scientology, like where they badger people on the sidewalk to come in and take a personality test and stuff, which I've never done because I was always like told like when I first moved to LA, because I had never heard of Scientology.
Yeah.
Until I moved to LA. I mean, had you?
I think I remember the only thing I knew was seeing commercials for the book Dianetics.
Okay.
And not understanding what it was all about.
Sure.
It would be like this commercial with like a volcano and lava and shit and a voiceover that was like, Dianetics.
Well,
That's all I knew.
I don't know if I even saw that, but like when I moved to LA, people told me, if someone asks you to take a personality test on the street, walk the other way.
Do you know what? I feel like I got filled in pretty quickly too about Scientology.
And I was like, oh, that's so interesting. I had no idea. Yeah. And they're like, no, it's this, cult that says it's a religion because it got, religious status or blah, blah. And I was like, oh, I had no idea.
Yeah. I did take the personality test one time.
Come on.
Me and my friend Brian were walking around.
Oh, but you gave fake names though. Because you can't give your name, email, or address because they...
I don't know. Here's what happened. I think they read us as not serious. And so we took the test. And then they made us wait for a really long time to get the results. And we were like, let's get out of here.
Oh, okay.
And I think that's part of it is like, are these people willing to stay? Let's see if they're going to... If they really want to
the
stick.
results.
If they want to stick around, we have like a tenuous in where maybe we can trap their brains, right? But if you leave, then it's like, yeah, we probably weren't going to get them. But if you stay, if you're willing to stay, then it's like, okay, we made them do that.
Like,
so maybe we can make them do this other stuff.
I feel like this is what I learned about myself the other day with the closet world. If I went into Scientology.
Yes. If Closet World was Scientology.
If Closet World was Scientology and they got me in there and I couldn't leave because whatever reason.
Because they shut the closet.
Yeah, they shut the
You find out the whole building is a closet.
It is a closet. I think
You're pushing your way through
I learned about myself is that clearly I'm willing to give them my credit card and where I live to get out.
Right.
And that I would have to then cancel my credit card and move to an undisclosed location.
I don't think you should be that hard on yourself because you did find out about all the fail safes and then you took action to make sure that they worked.
Well, yeah, like especially after she started talking to me about the pit, I was like, "Bitch, you think I'm not going to see this through and have this transaction canceled?"
How dare you you come here to my home and talk to me about the pit? Potential spoilers?
You talked to me about Dr. Robbie?
That's right.
Like
you had to go Michael Corleone.
Like Dr. Robbie is my primary care physician. Not yours. Bitch.
That's right, bitch. Closet World, bitch.
Anyway.
Go back to your closet.
I mean, she was fine. I feel bad. I mean, she was just doing her job, I guess. I just don't appreciate that.
Yeah, why don't you walk out of my home and walk into your closet?
Why don't you go watch the pit and stop bullying me?
Why don't you go hang yourself up on a hanger
on a closet
in your closet?
Why don't you fold yourself up, put yourself in a drawer, cozy up to a sachet.
That's right.
Talk to someone else about the pit, not me.
Yeah.
And give me my credit card back.
Bitch, if I were you, I'd turn around, walk into that closet all the way to Narnia.
Bitch, if I were you, I wish I had Bitcoin and I paid for it with Bitcoin and then Bitcoin crashed the next day. Is that how Bitcoin works?
I don't know, and I pray that
I wish that I had paid for it with my 401k. I don't have a 401k. I have whatever creative people pretend is a 401k. I wish I paid for it with that. And the next day, it had been wiped out by Trump's Liberation Day tariffs. And then I was like, oh, well, too bad.
Yeah.
You can't keep my money, Closet World.
Because it never existed.
Because it never fucking existed in the first
zeros,
place.
You dumbass.
It was all fake. It was all fake.
Now, here's what's real. We got to wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
No, don't put that in my head.
I'll take it. Joe Bananas.
Joe Bananas. Oh, my God, Joe Bananas.
Joe Bananas.
I can still see that guy clear as day.
Joe Bananas has an addiction.
He really thought like I was going to come back to America, the big celebrity that I am, and put Joe Bananas on the map. In the United States.
Whoever sent you in there, were you like, thanks?
No, they couldn't have known. They couldn't have known.
But were you like, what the fuck did you tell Joe Bananas?
I think they told him the truth and that he intuited a bunch of things.
I don't know.
You think they set me up?
No, but I think that they inadvertently said things that were like over the top.
They may have said things. I don't think they were being over the top. Right?
How did they not have a similar experience in there then? Why were they sending you in there? Like, what was their impression of Joe Bananas? That they were like, we got to send Paul in here.
I don't know if he was there.
Oh, like he might not have
It
been
might have
there.
been one of the other sales associates or something. I don't know. Maybe the guy looked me up. Maybe he Googled me and saw that I'd been on television and assumed that I was much more popular than I am.
I believe in a soft sell.
Absolutely.
Because
tainted love.
Because you may sell 2 shirts with a coercive control method. Sure. But say you're just building a relationship with your client.
Yeah.
And you're like, you know what? If today's not the day, one day will be. You're going to sell that $1,000 blazer.
But he didn't really have
3 years from now.
He didn't really have time because he knew I was there for a limited amount of time, I think.
But
he thought I got to get
I
this
disagree
idiot.
because I disagree because if you had a lovely experience in that shop, you would have taken his card and been like, you know what? One of these days I want a Joe Bananas blazer because he was so lovely. And
Maybe. We'll never know.
That's,
We'll never know. All right. Do you have anything you want to plug? Anything you want to recommend to people?
Well, obviously the pit.
Obviously the pit.
You guys, I don't think I have anything to plug. Oh, wait. We were on a podcast in those British girls.
That is correct. It's
called The Way
They Were.
They Were.
Yeah.
The way they were. About famous couples breakups.
Yes. And we talked about the captain and Tennille.
Yes, and I thought that was a really fun conversation.
It was. I had a good time with them.
I was saying,
like,
I feel sad that I don't have a lot to plug right now because it does feel like work is never going to happen again.
Yeah, I know. Nevertheless, I got to tell people that I'm going on tour for as long as I can.
Yeah, that's true. You have to plug your tour.
Hopefully the whole tour will happen.
Why? You don't think that it is?
I don't fucking know what's going to happen.
Oh, you mean like with the world?
With the world.
Oh, that's true. But if you sold tickets, you've already sold those tickets.
It's true. And look, if you still have some money,
After
you still have like $25 or so to spare, I'm going to be hitting ostensibly over 20 cities in the United States and Canada. And it all starts Wednesday, April 23rd in Iowa City, Iowa. But go to paulftompkins.com/varietopia. You'll see all the ticket links there. And I hope people can come out. And let me tell you something. This is a really entertaining show. It will absolutely be a break for you from the shit that's happening. So please do come out. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes. I think the tour will be a success because a lot of people have already weighed in and said that they bought tickets and that they were really looking forward that you're coming to their city.
Yes. As of now, one city is sold out. New York is sold out. And then the rest are the tickets are moving pretty well. So please don't sleep on it. Come out.
Yeah,
and join
go
us.
have a break.
Yeah.
I think community is important right now.
Yeah.
And to me, that includes live performance, like getting together
1000%.
and enjoying things that other like-minded people enjoy.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I hope things get better. I don't like that, we're in this weird, uncertain place.
Yes, we are.
With
Yes,
oligarchs and all that.
Yes, we are.
Okay. Guys, oligarchs are dumb.
They're so stupid.
Do you like them? No. Does anybody like them?
Big thumbs
Would
down.
anyone dress up as an oligarch for Halloween? No.
But we thank you for listening.
I say no oligarchs.
Oh, I like it. Noligarch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Noligarch. Say Noligarch.
No oligarch.
Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back next month with another free episode.
And we're going to come up with some bonus.
We'll have some bonus stuff. We'll come up with something else. But thank you so much for listening. Go to weekendwater.substack.com for all the information. And we really appreciate you listening.
Yes. Thank you. And take care of yourselves and try to stay sane.
Yeah. Until next time.
Stay safe.
Stay
sane.
And
stay strong.